Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video here at tablemon. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today we're going to be doing a different sort of video. We're going to be talking about the hot topic, which is Charizard EX. Of course, it's a very dominant and powerful deck at this point in time, perhaps comparable to when Lugia V-Star first came out and was dominating tournaments. So far, Charizard has won, I think, even more tournaments in the beginning than Lugia V-Star, but can it reach that level of dominance? And then if so, how important is the mirror match? And therefore the question is, should you play something like the Tord build from EUIC that plays Prime Catcher and has Choice Belt and Defiance Band and Double Professor Turo to be able to be very aggressive? Or should you play a more conservative build like the one that just won in Sao Paulo Regionals that Pedro Bertuzzi played? I think they also played something similar to EUIC, and they were also, William Acevedo was almost able to defeat Tord Ratcliffe in top 4 with his more disruptive build with 2 technical machine devolution, and back then he had maximum belt, but this time around the regional was won with Hero Escape. Now both options of course have their advantages and disadvantages, and what changes is the different options that you have within a game, right? In the end, both decks are a Charizard deck. Both decks offer Pidgeot and Bibarel with a lot of backup with Cleffa, Rotom, and Luminion for the support engine. So the essence of the deck is the same, but the options that you have within each turn is what ends up being different. So let's talk about the advantages of each. So starting off with Prime Catcher. Prime Catcher gives you the option to be able to Ghost plus Disrupt in the same turn. Now, by disruption, I mean it could be Iono plus Roxanne, right? It could be Iono plus Roxanne along with Ghost, which is very powerful, being able to Ghost and take away your opponent's hand or attack your opponent's hand in the same turn is a very powerful combination. And by disruption, it could also mean using Professor Turo to heal, right? Being able to Ghost something and then heal the active Charizard or whatever took some form of damage, and then you are able to replace it with a fresh attacker, and you get to Ghost and attack whatever you choose to, is incredibly powerful and gives you a sort of more aggressive approach in the mirror, if you will. Now, aside from that, switching on its own, right? The secondary effect of Prime Catcher, because it's not just ghosting, it's also switching. That effect on its own can be a useful asset to stop stall plays against something like Bibarel or the Radiant Charizard if you ended up benching it early. Can also help you reset Radiant Charizard's attack as well. So, and the ghosting effect, so it's like a boss and it is a boss and a switch in the same card. But that switching aspect cannot be underestimated, and sometimes you end up using Prime Catcher as just a way to switch, and that's okay. Yeah, I feel like some people always want to get like a game-breaking turn when using Prime Catcher. Sometimes if you have to use it to switch to continue your aggression or to prevent a prize card from your opponent or something along those lines, that's good enough. Yeah, every card in your deck, its purpose should be to help you win whatever function that is. All right. Now, by combining this Ghost and Switch into one card, that also saves some deck space, right? Compared to the previous format, we had every Charizard deck running at least one copy of Switch or Escape Rope, but now, yeah, and along with 3 Boss's Orders and 1 or 2 Counter Catchers. Now, because you have the Ghost and the Switch combined in a single card, that along with the Professor Turo in these sort of versions, then you have the switching effect as well and the Ghost in a single turn. So you're not playing less Ghost, but you're already playing the switching effect, and therefore that saves you a little bit of deck space, which of course when building anything, we're always wishing we had that 61st card, that 62nd card. So gaining that one spot can be very important and very crucial. And then finally, when you're playing Prime Catcher, every Arven now becomes a potential Ghost option. And it's especially strong when a tool card such as Defiance Band or Choice Belt is also needed on that given turn, right? So then you can only quick search for one card, right? But if you quick search for Arven, then you have your Ghost and you have the tool that you need in that point in time in order to help accomplish whatever you needed. And sometimes even if you don't need extra damage boost, but the Forest Seal Stone can help you get the Ghost and the Rare Candy with a single quick search, which is really, really powerful. And one of the best assets of Prime Catcher, that it gives the R-Vents more use as the game goes on. Now, switching on to Heroescape. Yeah, Heroescape is also a fantastic Ace Spec to consider. It's more than proven its capabilities, and a 430 HP Charizard is an insane amount. All right, we've never seen a card printed with that high of an HP, and being able to get to that amount is nuts, honestly. Something like Drifloon needs 8 energy attached to it by God of War EX, along with its own Heroescape or the Luxurious Escape, in order to have 16 damage counters on it and be able to do enough damage to 1 KO a Charizard EX. The Chien-Pao EX, for example, also needs 8 energy total to 1 KO a Charizard EX. That's all the energies in the deck that Chien-Pao decks play. So very, very key, and can put you out of range of some important threats. Now, when you combine that humongous amount of HP with the missed energy that these builds are playing, you can create this super Charizard. Yeah, that can never be one KO'd essentially, and Frenzied Gouging and Star Requiem do not work against it. It can also not be affected by Technical Machine Devolution, so it becomes a very difficult thing or Pokemon to deal with, especially in the late game when you're combining the Heroescape, that monstrous Charizard, with Disruption on your side. Now, sitting at 430 HP in the mirror match, you can go down to 1 price card, right? Because you are safe now. Your opponent cannot 1-hit KO a Charizard EX by doing 330 damage because you have the extra HP from the Heroescape. Now, of course, there's always the threat of Lost Vacuum, and that's the biggest issue that I find with Heroescape. It has that very glaring weakness, and if it does become more prevalent, yeah, just as if Guardy all of a sudden became the most played deck or one of the best decks in the format, it can easily be countered by Lost Vacuum. So until that card rotates, until next year, I do believe that's the main thing holding Heroescape back. There's nothing that can stop Prime Catcher from being used other than a random item lock by Vanity X or even Shop It, but Heroescape can be effectively countered by a single card, and if it becomes more and more important and more effective, then you can expect Lost Vacuum to show up in higher numbers in the decks that already play it, or in some decks that used to not play it because they need to counter that. Now, another advantage of Heroescape is that it can be attached to any Pokemon, right? So you can attach it to Pidgeot, and all of a sudden, now it's out of range of common attacks like Lost Impact, right? So giving extra HP to your other Pokemon is also very important. Having a 260 HP Radiant Charizard, having a 380 HP Pidgeot EX, that can potentially either put them out of range so that they can't be targeted by your opponent, or you can also make it so that your opponent essentially loses a turn, right? By 2-hit KOing something that they would otherwise 1-hit KO. So that's another fantastic advantage of Heroescape, which is once again countered by Lost Vacuum, but not every deck will have Lost Vacuum, and when you're playing down the Heroescape, you'll try to affect your opponent's hand so that them having the Lost Vacuum is not easy at all, right? And then finally, it does allow for a more defensive approach in the mirror match because it puts Pokemon out of range. It allows you to go down to 1 price card, being able to like be more aggressive against whatever's active, therefore needing to cost less, right, in the mirror match. But it's especially powerful when it's combined with the 2 technical machine devolutions that Pedro and Williams list featured, right? Because you're already doing this more defensive approach, and then if you're also slowing down your opponent's Pokemon and they're barely getting to attack or get some KOs, then having a humongous HP on Charizard will also be very powerful. Now, my final choice between the two, I still lean towards the Prime Catcher, but I can also recognize the viability and the importance of the Heroescape and how useful it can be at any given moment. So both versions are good. It's up to you to discover which one you prefer the best. And like I said, in the end, both decks are Charizard EX decks. Both decks are extremely powerful. What changes is the tools that you have to finish a game. So no matter how many master classes you attend on the Charizard mirror match, and no matter how many lines of play you walk into the next regional or the next tournament you play with to try and follow when you are playing, if something goes out of what you expect and you're forced to improvise, right? You know which options you have within your deck based on your choices, and it's up to you to find a game-winning plan within those. Yeah? And to me, that's an 100% more important, useful tool in the game of Pokemon in order to find success than any amount of master classes on a specific deck will ever teach you. But what are your thoughts? Yeah, let me know. Of course, we have Maximum Belt as an extra option for Charizard, but I do feel it is the inferior option between the two. That little bit of extra damage, not little, it's actually a significant amount, but can be made up for by Defiance Band in some situations, and it's just a less powerful effect, such as Prime Catcher and such as Heroescape, because it's very specific, right? Whereas Heroescape and Prime Catcher are global and they can help in any matchup in pretty much or in many situations. So definitely Prime Catcher and Heroescape a step above Maximum Belt in my opinion. But I'd love to know your thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Let me know if you're even playing Charizard, but even if you're not, then it's important to know the options that the Charizard player that you're definitely going to be facing at your next tournament can potentially have, so you can also better adapt to their strategies. Thanks so much for tuning in. Let me know what you think as well about the style of this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.